Well, here we are again. This is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word, and we're talking out of a little book by Mr. Hyatt C. Moore, and we're asking God to put this little excerpt on His account in heaven, and let's hope and pray that if He's up there today, that He's aware that somebody's looking at a book that He wrote in 1925, and that He says that between the years between 53 AD and 66 AD, he says that the churches in Galatia and the city of Ephesus and the city of Colossae in Asia Minor and to Philippi, the Philippians, and to the Thessalonians, and to the Corinthians, and to the Grecians, and to the peninsula that is where Rome, the seat of Rome, is. And at that particular time, Rome was the head and of all of the land known, as it were, in that day. I'm going to start right there for a second, because as I was studying this, God gave me a picture. The picture He gave me is all of these countries out here, and in the new earth, the new heaven, and the new Jerusalem comes down on the earth. The new Jerusalem is going to be the Mecca for the children of God. And the city is going to sit on 12 foundations on this earth. And it's the picture that we see right here of Rome. Rome was the Mecca. Rome was the capital city of the known earth at that time. Rome was the one that had sent out to tax the people. They had to come to Rome. They had to make account for themselves. They had to, if you please, they had to bring their sacrifice, fleshly sacrifice of monetary things, and pay tribute to Rome. And come the new Jerusalem comes out, the new city comes out on the new earth. Men are going to have to visit that city, and the men of God and the people of God are going to have to visit that city who do not live in it and pay tribute there to it. And it's a very, very, very interesting study. If you have never been in the study of the New Jerusalem coming from heaven with the 12 foundations built on with the walls from the 24 elders, the children of Israel, the 12 tribes, and the patriots. If you have not studied that, you need to study that. That's a very, very interesting. Well, anyway, here we are. We hit Rome, which was the metropolis of the empire. It was it. When you hit Rome, boy, you had the hanging guards. You had everything. It was like Babylon. And it was beautiful. All of the stuff there, the Colosseums they had built, the great high posters, all of the things they had built, the Acropolis and all that. He also wrote personal letters to Timothy. Timothy was an associate missionary with the Apostle Paul. Timothy was an associate missionary with the Apostle Paul. And you know, physically speaking, that was a great thing. Wouldn't you have loved to be no? You say, no, I don't think I would have loved to be associated too close to Paul when he was walking on this earth, because he spent too much time in prison. But he had learned this. If you're in prison, just act like you aren't. If you, no matter where you are, if you're without food and you're hungry, just act like you aren't. If you're thirsty and can't get any water, just act like you aren't. Just follow the Lord and let Him suffice for you, and He'll take the place of that which you're going without. Be content in all places. He also wrote these not just to Timothy. He wrote to Titus, which Titus was his helper in Crete. And you remember when Paul went to Crete, he took Titus over there, and he made Titus be the helper over there. Well, who is Titus? Titus is a little old bitty fellow like you and me that God chose. to put out there to help Paul for a little bitty while. And then when Paul left him by himself, Paul had trained him good enough and said, now you have the Holy Spirit in you, Titus. Now you go on and you do what God would have you do. And Titus did so. And Timothy also. And then on top of that, we had this guy named Philemon. And he's only mentioned in one little chapter, one little page in the Bible. And Paul talks to him, sends him a little letter, and requests him to take back his a servant and whatever. And Paul had won him to the Lord. And listen, I asked this question many, many times. I asked this question. I ask it to me. I ask it to you. I ask it to other people. If God was writing another Bible right now, let's say he's writing a Bible right now, and it's going to be for the 1,000-year millennial reign. Are you living close enough to God that your name would be in there, even on one page, or even mentioned one time? The secretary at the church and I were talking the other day, and we said, isn't this wonderful that these two ladies, Eunice and Lois, they're mentioned one time in the Bible. It was attributed to them that they raised Timothy in a godly manner. Will your name be mentioned one time in another Bible? If there's a Bible being written, have you lived close enough to the Lord, or have you done any one little thing in your Christian life that would be worthy of being written down in another Bible, in a Bible? Listen, millions of people lived. Millions and millions of people are living today. Millions of people were living when this was written. But you know only a few are in it. Compared to the people that were on this earth, there's only very few people mentioned in this book. I put my name in this computer the other day and asked this computer, try it yourself. Put your name in there and ask this computer. See if you don't come back with a few 100,000 people. Same name you got. Same exact name. Man, there's 4 million and some people out there with my name and the same name. But there's only going to be one perhaps used in the Bible. Out of all of those names of that, are you going to be the one that's going to be used? All right, let's get back in here. Here's this little guy, Philemon. All right, and then his Colossian friends. He had friends in Colossae. And 6 of his letters were styled for missionaries. They call them missionary epistles. They're written for missionaries because they were written during the period of time when the missionaries were laboring in 2 different continents. He had missionaries, Paul had missionaries laboring in 2 different continents. And they were missionaries unto him. They were missionaries he gathered up as he walked across his country when he met Timothy, when he met Titus. By the way, he was so close to Timothy, he called him his son in the Lord, but it sounds like he called him his son, period. And the reason why is Timothy was so close to Paul's heart. He was like the Apostle John and Jesus. Where Jesus and John were so close in heart. John laid his head on the breast of Jesus and said, I love you. I love you. And he did. He was the loving apostle. He loved Jesus. And it's for us to do the same. But here's Paul and Timothy. Paul loved Timothy, the young man that was astute, the young man that gave all he could give, that got in. Paul entices him to do the same as he was doing. Fight the good fight. Come on, boy, and fight the good fight. Be very careful. He said, because you're a young man and you're around older people. And so be very careful around these older people that you don't allow them to think bad of you or think you're rude because you have some authority.